Lawyers of Reddit, what was your hold it moment where you knew you would win? My client was riding his motorcycle on a relatively calm street when this guy exited his garage, without looking, and run over him. In deposition, the guy brought a witness that was with him on the passenger seat. The whole time, the witness maintained that my client was driving too fast and that there was no time to brake the car. I asked him the same question a few times in different ways, making him tell the story again. In the fourth telling, he, already a bit frustrated, let it slip. Look, I've already told you. We were exiting the garage and, as soon as I lifted up from getting my cell phone on the car's carpet, wait. So you didn't even see the crash? There was no coming back from that. At this moment he knew, he effed up. It was my third month of practice. I was in family law at the time, representing mom in a petition for a restraining order against boyfriend/dad. At issue in the broader case was child visitation, custody, support, etc., but today's hearing was just on the row. We had pretty good facts, but it was mostly based on testimony of the parties. My client was way more reputable as a witness, so I was feeling confident. 10 minutes before the hearing, my client shows up. I give her a last-minute prep on what to expect, and then she says, "I'm glad I'm going through with this. I can't deal with it anymore and he's just getting worse." To top it off, he left me a drunken, ranting voicemail on Saturday. "You have your phone with you?" "Yes." We play the voicemail and it's a full 2 minutes of ex-boyfriend screaming crap like I should have effing killed you when we were together. You were always such a bitch. I hope you burn to death in a fire. I didn't have time to ask her why the F she hadn't said anything to me about the voicemail before the bailiff called our case. We sit, the judge asks if either side has additional evidence, or I ask for permission to play the voicemail. Ex-boyfriend, who didn't have an attorney, didn't object, so I played the whole nasty 2-minute rant in open court. Judge goes, "We're going to take a brief recess before I issue my ruling. If the parties want to meet and confer in the hall, they are welcome to." Boyfriend knew he was effed. We settled the whole damn case then and there. My client got her wish list in terms of custody, supervised visitation, child support, plus the restraining order, to boot. In court for a restraining order, my ex was adamant he had not nearly killed our daughter and that he did not in fact break into my house and point a gun at me the week prior. I was just a liar who wanted to keep his child away. When told I was asking for a full indefinite order, which is zero contact ever, he said to his lawyer, "If this bitch gets that order, I'm going back to her house and I won't fail this time." Sadly for him, his microphone was still on. Wow, so did the judge hear it? Not a lawyer, but I'm currently in a custody battle. Mother is saying I can't be trusted because I've been refusing to take our child to the therapist. The therapist testified I couldn't bring our child in because therapy must have both parents' consent, and mother has retracted consent. Your Honor, he won't bring our child to a therapist because he can't. And why is that? Because, Your Honor, I won't let him. This is what we call a effie-wucky. Your Honor, I move that the case be dismissed due to the effie-wucky. I worked on a case involving defective processors. In discovery, we got emails from the defendant's engineers that had worked on the processors. They were in an Asian country, but the emails were in English because they were going to US executives. One of the more senior engineers basically laid out the exact defect we were suing over, explaining what the problem was and why it was their fault, and finishing with, "This is big problem, we ship crap to customer." Needless to say, we hit them over the head with that in mediation, and they settled shortly after. Engineer being ignored. "The sky is blue, I suck at haiku." Switch line 1 and 2 haikus are 575. Keep at it, my friend. Not so sure, my friend. Line 2 was 4 syllables, I think. No haiku. When I compared the scanned copy of the deed provided by the other side's lawyers to the original my client eventually got around to providing. The scanned copy provided by the other side had a witness signature. The original did not. I've caught this before. I wrote up a settlement recommendation because we had a sloppy record. Client came back with a much better record in response. No explanation of why they didn't provide it in the first place. So we called them. Turned out they used our settlement recommendation as a guide to improve their work. After the lawsuit was actually filed, It definitely wasn't an intentional attempt to commit fraud or perjury, but for my sake and theirs, I'm glad I caught that. Another trick I've seen in Reddit is the last page of the contract will have like one paragraph, then a bunch of blank space, then the signature lines. After you sign, they throw it in the printer and add a few more paragraphs. That's why you see this sentence. The rest of this page was intentionally left blank. OMG, that makes so much sense now. Edit, I've been on Reddit for years. Why is this my most upvoted comment all of a sudden? Same. I even took a life skills class in HS that told us to strike out empty spaces, put in the decimal, and use 00100 for cents on checks. I guess I should use that knowledge more frequently. And 2020 instead of just 20, that could be extended to a 2021 to 2099. Simple solution, cross out the blank space before signing. Just a big X. My mom hit a guy on a bike with her car in a parking lot. She claimed he hit her. She also wanted to countersue the cyclist for scaring her. In her deposition, she started every sentence with "when I hit him." One of my friends got hit by a car when crossing the street, in a crosswalk, on foot. This was back when we were in high school. The guy tried to sue him for the damages to his car. At one point, the lawyer called up my friend's mom and asked for the son's insurance information and pictures of the damage of her son's car. She explained that my friend was on foot, and the lawyer just went silent for a bit. He said, "I need to speak with my client," and hung up. He called back a few minutes later and told her that she wouldn't be hearing about this again. Edited for clarity. Would have loved to hear the conversation he had with his client, laughing my butt off. Client: hello. Lawyer: yeah, Bob? I just spoke with Timmy's mom to get more extensive information and some photographic evidence that could help your case. Client: oh, great. And lawyer: well, she said the kid was on foot. Client: I mean, yeah. I hit him. That's not the point. My Lexus now has lawyer, Bob, shut the F up. On what effing pink, foggy raccoon-ridden planet do you think you could hit someone else, on foot, with your car, and get them to pay you? Client: lawyer: yeah. Pink, foggy raccoon-ridden planet, I can't wait to say this to someone. Geez, did she get far? Ha ha. Obligatory, not mine but my mom's story. She was fighting for custody on behalf of the father, trying to prove that the kids were living in subpar conditions with their drug addict mother in spite of the ample child support provided. It was a tough case because courts are so hesitant to pull kids away from their moms. Then the mom burst out that she had been feeding the kids cat food as proof that she wouldn't let them starve. Needless to say, the judge didn't take that as a good reason for the kids to stay with their mom. Wait, did you say cat food? I'm kind of baffled by that. We have a cat. The damn cat food is the most expensive food in the house. I bet you are thinking of wet cat food. The dry stuff is significantly cheaper per pound. Not a lawyer, but we had no evidence that the woman who slammed into my stopped car going 85 miles per hour was drunk, until she indignantly admitted it on tape in her deposition. She busted into my deposition and demanded she go first because I was a lying bitch. She excitedly told my lawyer that the police report was wrong because it said she was coming from the movie theater when she was actually coming from her friend's bar. Did you have anything to drink at your friend's bar? Of course. How many drinks I don't know, they just keep my glass full. Did you take any medicine that day? Methadone and low blood pressure medicine. I see. The cops had refused to breathalyzer her at the scene because her husband was a firefighter that they knew personally. They told her to go home, sober up, and go to the hospital later. I heard the whole thing but had no proof until she handed it to me. They settled same day. Yeah, it's amazing what people will say when they're excited. I got rear-ended once, and the first thing she said to the cop was that she had just gotten her brakes fixed, but her car barely slowed down when she pushed the brake pedal all the way in. I made sure to pass that on to everyone involved. Before she said that, I was pretty worried. She came out of her car rubbing her neck, and her official address that she gave the cop was a P.O. box. Isn't rear-ending someone one of those assumed at fault cases anyway? Yes, when I worked in insurance, if someone rear-ended you, it always went down as a fault claim on them unless you could prove fraud. Common scam in the UK is for people to slam on their brakes randomly so the car behind will hit them and then everyone claims some sort of bodily injury for a payout. Pretty hard to disprove without a dash cam. I trapped a defendant pretty badly one time. He testified in a depot he had a green arrow for his left turn and that my client ran the red. Unfortunately for him, the additional turn lane arrow was installed 2 months after the wreck. Case settled for policy limits a week later. Not a court case, but your story reminds me of an accident I was a passenger in. A woman illegally turned at an intersection. There was a sign for turn on arrow only, and hit the car I was in as we were crossing through. We pulled into a nearby parking lot and were exchanging information. The woman was freaking out and in tears, and me and the driver were just standing there uncomfortable. An uninvolved person saw that, and apparently seeing the woman crying and 2 big guys there decided that meant we were bullying her. She comes up and starts screaming at the driver and says she's a witness and it's all his fault for running a green light, aka driving through the intersection. Reminds me of the time I was going through a green light and nearly T-boned a guy. They also had a green light. Both sides were green. Made me realize traffic lights aren't infallible, lol. I reported that to the city but never got a response. Edit. For the curious, I found my post about it from 3 years back. Web link. I'm a court reporter who mostly does pretrial depositions, and I'd like to think by this point I'm pretty good at reading people. I did this one car accident case that actually took place at an intersection a few blocks away from where I used to live, so I was familiar with it. Both parties were nice middle-aged ladies. One was driving north-south and the other was driving east-west, and both of them swore they had the green light. Luckily, no one was seriously injured, but damn, I could not tell who was telling the truth and who was lying. I guess it's possible, though unlikely, that the light malfunctioned and they did both have the green? But like I said, I used to live nearby, and I must have driven through that intersection hundreds of times without any issues. It's also possible one of them just wasn't aware enough of the situation and legitimately thought they had a green light when they didn't. I was reviewing the transcript of an interview with a child. The child made incriminating statements against my client. At one point, when discussing the allegations, the child used an odd word, but I didn't think much of it. A few days later, I was watching a video of the child interacting with their grandmother, who hates my client, from about a week before that interview. The grandmother used the exact same odd word in the exact context the child later used it. At that moment, it became clear that child had been coached. It was the first real aha moment of my career. I mean my blood boils, when people coach children and use them in this way. You are a disgusting pos to use a child like this. No one ever knows if a child is lying or telling the truth moving forward, which makes them so vulnerable. And the kid themselves just is destroyed by the lie. Sometimes they start to believe the lie. People suck. My mom made me write a bunch of made-up stuff about my dad when I was 8 years old. Yeah, it was effed up. Almost forgot about that one. Holy cow, folks, so many comments. My mom and older sister tried to coach me to tell the judge I want to live with mommy when I was 5. I told my mom I didn't feel comfortable lying, laughing my butt off. Both of my parents stayed in my life and I never saw a judge. Although both of my parents did some stupid crap, I'd like to say it worked out. My client has been keeping her son away from the father because the father has a new child. She is concerned that her son will act violently towards the new child and she could be held liable. Judge, that's not even a defense. Man, this sounds like a really sad family situation for the older half-brother. Sounds like his mom is pissed that his dad has moved on, so she refuses to cooperate and wants her kid to hate his dad and the new baby. But what effing attorney was like, okay, let's go to court with this? No matter how ridiculous, there's always an attorney that will go for it. What do you call someone who barely passed the bar? An attorney. Also, to play defense on that unknown lawyer, a lot of people lie to their lawyer, which is dumb. Never lie to your lawyer, doctor or therapist. As long as you're paying them, they are there only for you. I was sued for a car crash. While the plaintiff was on the stand, she began recounting the event and everyone realized it was a completely different crash. Different cars involved, different time of day, everything. Upon cross-examination, she revealed that she had 4 lawsuits running concurrently and couldn't keep them all straight. The jury foreman looked at me and rolled his eyes. Her eventual payout, paid by my insurance co., was a pittance, less than the initial settlement offer before the whole thing went to trial. Her lawyer was shaking with anger when court adjourned. He was one of those "we don't get paid unless we get money for you guys," so he lost a lot of money on that one. Okay, so I was drafting a defense to an accident case statement of claim, and when I read through it, all the details were wrong. They got the insurers, our client, wrong, the wrong license plate, driver, date, time. Everything was wrong. So I told my clerk to call their firm up to inform them of their mistake. When she got patched through to the lawyer screamed down the phone and left my clerk in tears. Said that they, lawyer, don't have time to be speaking to clerks and to get a real lawyer to call them back. That pissed us off. So we went along with it. Went for dismissal and got filing fees. Overall didn't cost our client a cent. That's amazing. The haughty F really screwed himself on that one. I feel bad for your clerk though, no one deserves to be disrespected like that. Jesus, how does she find the time to get into 4 different car accidents all so bad they result in lawsuits? Her husband helped. I think it was their retirement plan. So pathetic. I was sued after rear-ending an older woman. And I put it in quotes because the only damage to her car was scratches from my license plate frame screws. She sued my insurance for $10,000, the most you can for small claims court in CA, and she had documented proof that she was injured. The proof was her son. That was also her physical therapist. Apparently she was going 3 times a day for 8 months. She was awarded $1,000 edit. I'm in a good mood. Is the damage that I caused to her car? Web link. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.